In this second video on ratios and proportions, we will look at a few examples where we will be asked to solve problems using ratios. In example number 5, we're told to solve for n over 15 is equal to 2/3, but we don't know what n is. We're given the fraction or ratio 2/3, and it's equal to an unknown over a known, or a reference value. So what we want to do is we want to be able to figure out what n is and n is. So let us go over to the whiteboard and show how we could calculate and find what the unknown n is. In example number 5, we are actually asked to do a calculation where we have two ratios. N over 15 is equal to 2 over 3. And we want to solve for n. Now, since we have two ratios on each side separated by an equal sign, this allows us to actually cross multiply. So that means we get 3n is equal to 2 times 15, which means that we have turned it into a regular algebraic problem. And this means that 3n is equal to 30. And of course, we divide each side by 3. And this means that n will be equal to 10. So that's how we would solve for n. Now, just like I did on the whiteboard, I cross-multiplied and I got n is equal to 10. So now I have two ratios that are equivalent, where 10 over 15 is equal to 2 over 3. In example number 6, Lee worked 22 hours this week and made $132. If she works 15 hours next week at the same pay rate, how much will she make? Well, this is an application of the ratios that we showed in example number 5. So let's go to the whiteboard and see how we could do this and figure out how much she will make if she only works 15 hours in the next week. In example number 6, we have the situation where Lee worked 22 hours. And in that 22 hours, she made $132. Now, if she worked 15 hours, how much would she make? Well, in this case, we have to make two ratios. And the first ratio that we'll make is the hours that she worked, where we know how much she made. And we know that in 22 hours that she made $132. And then we're going to compare that to the second situation where she worked 15 hours, but wants to know how much would she make in 15 hours if she worked at the same rate. So here we have set up the ratio, and I put a question mark because I don't know how much she made, but usually we call that X. as the unknown. So here we have set up two ratios on either side of an equal sign so that we could cross multiply. And we get 15 hours of hours times $132 is equal to 22 hours times we don't know how many dollars. Well, we multiply this and we get $1,980. And on this side, and hours, and on this side, we get 22 X dollars hours. So now what we do is we'll divide the 22 hours on each side. And notice how the hours cancel out because they're the same thing. They cancel out because on the top and the bottom we have the same thing. So we're left with, and these cancel out, so we're left with $1,980 divided by 22, and that gives us $90. So in 15 hours, she will make $90. Just like I did on the whiteboard, I set up the ratios. I put the hours worked and the money earned on each side. So if she worked 22 hours, she made 132, and that was equal to, so it's equivalent to 15 hours, and we don't know how much money she earned, just like I did on the whiteboard. And then we solved for X to find out that she would make $90 this coming week. In example number 7, BMCC has a 21-to-1 student to faculty ratio. Using this information, determine the total number of faculty members at BMCC. So we have to know, as mentioned, how to interpret 21-to-1. So let's go over to the whiteboard and work this out. In example number 7, we are told that BMCC has a student to faculty ratio of 21-to-1. So that means for every 21 students, there's one faculty member. So we want to determine the number of faculty members in BMCC. So we're told earlier that there were about 23,000 students in BMCC in 2011. So we're going to set up a ratio that we could solve. Well, we start out with this information that we know that for every 21 students, there is one faculty member. And then we put the equal sign, and we put on the other side of the equal sign on top the 23,000 students to match here. And then we don't know, and we'll call that X, how many faculty. And as before, we have the equal sign. We have two ratios on either side of the equal sign. We can cross multiply. And that means we have 21x is equal to 23,000. So then we divide by 21 on either side. And that means that X will be equal to 1,025 faculty. So that means if there are 23,000 students in BMCC, that means there are approximately 1,025 faculty members. Returning to the PowerPoint, I just set up the ratio as I did on the whiteboard, and I got that there are about 1,095 faculty members in BMCC. Thank you very much. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it will be helpful for you in your studies. Take care and be well.